Hello and welcome along to the West Yorkshire Football Show. We're here for instant post-match reaction to Leeds United 3, Chelsea 1. I'm Stephen Brown, with me to dissect everything. And believe me, we're going to dissect it. It is, of course, my right-hand man. It is Jason Booker. Good evening, Jason. Good evening to everyone in the chat already. I can see it's popping off. Thank you very much for getting your comments in already. Keep getting those in. If you're watching along as well, please do smash a like on the video, get it retweeted on X, and please do subscribe to the channel as well. Wow. Jay, where do you start with that? I mean, by the way, tonight, Leeds United have just got 3 points against a team that have completely dismantled Barcelona a week ago in the Champions League, outplayed league leaders Arsenal at the weekend with 10 men, club world champions, unlimited budget. The bench tonight was insane. Have you ever seen a bench like that? And yet, Leeds United have triumphed, and I think deservedly so by any metric.
Sure.
An incredible performance tonight. Just the intensity, the tenacity of the players, the spirit. You know, the crowd are bopping off. It's Ellen Road at its best. And for that man in the dugout, Daniel Farke, where all this noise around him, everybody talking about his job, his future, he's got to get something out of these next 2 games. Well, he's ticked off 1, Jay. It's an incredible victory. I mean, the best victory we've had at this level for donkeys probably since the last time we beat Chelsea 3-0. But yeah, Jay, how are you feeling after that one, mate?
Well, my initial feeling, I just said to you before we came on, is kind of relief, if I'm honest, because I feel like it's maybe a line in the sand moment. Some fans are not going to like it, the ones that have obviously got that direction of agenda on, and we'll probably come to that because that's obviously, them questions are going to come up now very strongly. There'll be some fans, unfortunately, that are disappointed tonight because it means that Daniel Farke will stay, and I feel sorry for you if that's how you kind of support your club, if I'm honest. I said to you before coming on, I think we've played better and lost. I definitely think that we've played better and not got the 3 points. I look at Bournemouth at home as an example. There was so much to love about what we did tonight. I do think that we harried, bullied, and kind of abused Chelsea into mistakes. The attitude and the desire was as strong as ever, which again just tells me that the players are so behind the manager. You know, they've turned. It makes me think that we've probably been practicing and training this formation longer than just a few days or a week or a couple of weeks, because it was very structured, it was very rigid. Again, you can't tell me that Daniel Farke isn't tactically capable. I'm not saying he's elite, but the things that he got that side to do today were very, very clever, and it'll be missed on a lot of fans. It will be missed on a lot of fans, but we funneled them out to the wings because of the positioning of the midfield 3. I spent 20 minutes of the second half saying to you, what's Pascal Struijk doing? He's flying out centre back all the time. That was instructional. Now, I'm not an elite level manager. I'm not a top level manager, but that was without a doubt Daniel Farke adapting in game. Whether you agreed with it or not, it was. And what he was doing was he was basically man marking Enzo. And once Enzo got to a certain point, he then left him and went back. But once Enzo was, it depended where the possession of the ball was, but he was basically following him to stop him influencing in the game, and he did. Like, it did work. He scared me as well at times, because then it left a big hole in that area of the pitch. But no matter what you do on the pitch, you're going to have a workaround. There's going to be pros and cons to whatever happens on the pitch. You know, we saw at times down the fullback areas, especially on the right in the second half, not being able to double up on the winger was causing Jayden Bogle loads of problems. And that's then a byproduct of not having a right midfielder within a setup. You know, it's not just as binary and as black and white as play 5-3-2 and then you're more defensive and all of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not. So, but there was so much to love about tonight. And not only was there so much to love from a tactical point of view, there was so much to love from an individual point of view as well. Ethan Ampadu, Anton Stack, I thought the two of them in the midfield were excellent. Jacobiol, for me, I was glowing about him all game. I thought it was brilliant. His positioning was honestly fantastic in that centre back of the three. It looked so comfortable. It was so assured in possession as well. Like he never looked to panic and it just looked like he had so much more time, and he didn't. He just had two players alongside him instead of one. It looked like a player. Calvert-Lewin, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Metcha. Metcha did so much that I loved as well. I mean, the finish that ended up getting rolled out for offside was beautiful. The one that he plucked out of the sky in the second half, it was so high up into the sky, and he came down and just dead touched it. There was so much love. Gabby was great going forward today. And I could wax lyrical about so many of them. I thought Joe Rodon and Pascal Struijk alongside Yaka were great as well. So mate, there's so much to love in what we saw tonight, and I am just refusing to see any negatives attached to it.
No, absolutely, and I think you're right. I think there will be I would hope a minority of fans that were kind of hoping that this will be the end of Farke and everything. It'll be tainted for those fans, and I think I think that's a bizarre position to have as a fan. It really is. I agree with everything you said there. I thought everybody was like a minimum 8 out of 10. I really thought. And I said a few weeks ago, I said, after a couple of disappointing performances, I said we can't afford to have several players performing below 6s and 5s and throwing out 4s. And tonight it was just everybody was absolutely on it. And I've got to say, it was a bloody great game. I mean, it was a fantastic game. I mean, just back and forth. It's funny because in the build-up, there's been a lot of talk about previous Leeds-Chelsea clashes, the famous FA Cup tie that, everyone's kicking lumps out of each other. And you know what? Tonight, it showed a level of intensity and spirit. It wasn't out of sight. It wasn't, out of the realms of that. It was fantastic, and Leeds have come out on top. And, Gavin's asked here, why didn't he try this weeks ago? And this is what will be kind of labelled at Farke, obviously, and there's always got to be a kind of twist on everything, hasn't there? And fair enough. But I mean, look, the 4-3-3 that we did, it was competitive for a while. It wasn't getting us results. We're aware of that. It started to go the other way. But like Jay says, I mean, to make a new formation click like that, like you say, there has to have been kind of groundwork put into it. Farke said himself in the presser, there have been subtle formation changes that maybe haven't grabbed the attention so much that he has done previously. But I mean, in terms of that starting lineup, because this was the big question, wasn't it, Jay, from the weekend? Is he going to go with that again? And he did. When you saw it, what were your feelings when you saw it? Were you glad to see it? Did it make you think, oh, that's encouraging? Or because obviously you and I, we did talk at the weekend about, it's a little bit, is it a bit unsettling that he's actually pulled away from his usual formation? But how did you feel pre-match when you saw the formation and the personnel?
I was relieved, like I said in the stream the other day, because I knew the difference it'd make to Ellen Road.
Yeah.
And it did. I seen a comment a minute ago that the fans definitely played a huge part tonight. Without a doubt they did, and Ellen Road can drag us over the line. I've been calling for this for weeks, for however many people we ever get watching our stuff. I always want to try and make sure that I put across the point of enjoying it, but also how impactful we can be. Like, when we are the way that we can be, when it gets toxic and negative, it plays the other way. And tonight we dragged the team kicking and screaming over the line. They did need that support, and they need it to be vociferous, because the gap between us and Chelsea in terms of quality on the pitch is massive, massive, massive. I mean, look at the bench. My word, I mean, the substitutions that they made. We have no right to be winning that game. No, zero. And the players, us, Daniel Farke, all deserve the credit. But tonight we need to have it be the line in the sand. And for me now, I honestly believe we're at the point where we just get behind him.
Yeah.
We just forget it. Forget the sacking. Just get on with it, because we've seen enough to show that. I'm kind of crossing over too many pages here, really. We should come to this later. But we've seen enough to know that he's adapting. He's capable of changing it. He's got the players right behind him. And I don't think people put enough emphasis on how important that is.
No.
And I mean, he's going to now say it again, but 1 point per game, we're back on it, right? Like, and I've been saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks. You can lose 6 games out of 7 in the Premier League and not be dead and buried.
Yeah,
we can do this again. If we now pick up, I don't know, however many points between now and Christmas, and then lose 6 on the bounce in January, it doesn't mean that we're down. It really doesn't. Teams at the bottom lose a lot of games in the Premier League. So, but yeah, to answer that question of why I didn't go to it a few weeks ago, like, we have to be fair. I'd say certainly before Brighton away, the performances were decent, and we'd seen enough to say that it was working. Brighton, Forest away were poor. We then come back and beat West Ham at home, right? I think that was directly after them too.
No, it would be 4, wasn't it? Because we've lost 4 on trot before tonight.
Did we?
So we lost. Yeah, so we lost Brighton, Forest, Villa.
Oh, we lost to Villa at home. But sorry, that was it. The Villa game at home, we played particularly. I thought we played pretty well in that game. I'd argued that the first half in the Villa game was as good as what we saw tonight.
Yeah.
I really would. So yeah, we didn't come out of it in that game. There's some management things and some individual quality things and all the rest of it that could be better. But yeah, we're still seeing enough to say that under this guidance, this team could finish 17th. And is the quality of the players within the team, does it deserve outright any more than that? No, it doesn't. The result tonight, the performance tonight, doesn't change that for me. You have got some fans that are genuinely of the mindset that this team under a different manager would finish 12th, 13th, 14th comfortably. It wouldn't. I just don't believe that. I'm really, really impressed with what we were able to put out there tonight. And that is under Farker.
Me too, because the question I had in my head, Jay, was seeing the level that we were at tonight. And at halftime, just after when Chelsea got 1 back, I was sat there going, I don't know where else you go with these players and a performance. I don't know who the magic man is that you can even bring in that can get any more than what we've seen. That you can't get any more than tonight. There's nobody that can come in and improve on what we had tonight in a short space. To come in and work with players in a short space of time, it's just impossible. And I think we've got the Jesse Marsch thing. Is this his Jesse Marsch moment? Where it's a win against a top team that kind of, enables him to kind of carry on longer in the job. The difference I would argue there is the performances under Marsch were terrible week in, week out. They were garbage. We were garbage every single week. We were garbage under Marsch. Whereas, like you say, even going to the Villa game, there's been decent, good performances where we deserve points and we didn't get them.
There was no kind of understanding of what we were really trying to do under Jesse Marsch either. Like, it always looks like there's an element of a plan under Daniel Farker. Whether you like it or not is almost irrelevant to this kind of conversation. It is pragmatic. It can be a bit slow and boring at times, but this is nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing like that. Jesse Marsch's standard of football. It's completely different. And people want to rewrite history. And I know we had the depth of the squad wasn't great, but that squad that Jesse Marsch has was miles better than this one. It was there were certain elements in the defence that were a bit sketchy, and was the likes of Luke Ayling and all the rest of it. The gold dust had gone maybe, but there was still so much quality within that side that this one just doesn't have. This one is built on a pragmatic, really structured system and a desire and a hunger to achieve and work for the manager. For me, you cannot for a second question how much this team are behind the manager, because if they were, we'd have got thumped tonight. We'd have got absolutely thumped.
We saw that, didn't we? We saw that, under Marsch that happened time and time again, and then under Gracia where you're just getting humped, and we have definitely not had that. Bring a couple of comments in. Robbie, thanks for your comment, mate. I said Farker couldn't change. I'm so happy to be wrong. What a night. Sporting Journey, thanks for all your comments. Really appreciate that, mate. We have a real chance of beating a poor Liverpool side too. I'm up for it. Yeah, absolutely.
What a refreshing comment by Robbie as well. Just the fan that's prepared to actually say, you know what, fair enough. I either got it wrong or he has now proven otherwise. Like, why are we so desperate to have this new shiny thing all the time? It is like a January transfer window. It's like the summer, and it doesn't matter who we sign as long as we sign someone. Same goes for managers. People are just so desperate to either have something new or be right on a previous opinion and can't turn it around. Like I weren't that swung on the way that the formation came about at the weekend. I said it in the review, and I were questioning Farker on the back of it. To me, the way that we play tonight changed my opinion again and showed me that it was something that they were probably working on. It was too good tonight. It was too structured, because if it had not been worked on and you just threw it together in a week, we'd have seen far bigger gaps in the back line. We'd have seen them getting through and cutting us open. They didn't cut us open, really. 1 or 2 moments from Garnacho in the second half. Perry had very little to do, really. So for me, it was again really, really good, with a team of individuals that quality-wise are so far behind the opposition.
Yeah.
So how can you not praise him?
No, exactly. Digler, a good time was had, be all. We've touched on it briefly, but let's really dig into some of these performances, because they absolutely deserve all the praise tonight. That man, Bijol, I mean, it's been an interesting start to his Leeds United career. Obviously, he didn't play for a while, suspended for the first game, came into the team under a kind of period of time where things were going against us. We weren't at his best in those couple of away games that he played. And you could feel that people were kind of, starting to build up a narrative of, he's a dud. That was just a little bit starting to build up. Jay, I mean, how good was Jacoby all tonight? He oozed class, the positional sense, his ability on the ball, his reading the game, and the goal. I mean, that header. I mean, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited when we signed him, and I remember saying to you, he has got a susceptibility. He's a bit slow, and he can have to dive into challenges. And I think he's seeing the negatives to his attributes. They show up more in the back two, especially when we're so up against, we're defending more often than maybe some better teams would be. In a back three, he can kind of get away, and all of his positives then shine. He's the man that's within the centre of them three that's then tasked with heading everything away that comes anywhere near the 6-yard box, which is his biggest strength. His reading of the game is excellent. His positioning is honestly fantastic, especially with crosses into the box, which is something that, I would say Pascal's not great at. He gets caught watching the ball a lot. And I do think he got unfairly kind of tarnished with 2 really difficult away games, especially the Brighton game. I mean, what do you expect him to do? We weren't even in great form at the time either, So, but yeah, he showed every bit of quality tonight that we obviously paid good money for. It's a start. It's a big start for him to now build on. I mean, I love the way that he brought the ball out the back. He looked really composed, and he looked even more composed with having two teammates alongside him rather than just one. So yeah, I'm buzzing for him. I'm really, because I really like him as well. I think he's a lot of what Leeds fans would like. Rough and ready, and in your face, and just I just think it's quality. And the header was exceptional. I mean, it was so much power on it. Put Robert Sanchez it back at net, didn't it? So yeah, buzzing for him, mate. And I think it's a funny one, because with the 5-3-2, I do think it then leaves some players starts up for question. Dan James, Willian Ontos, as an example. We're going to come and talking about them at some point. Maybe even Noah Okafor as well. But if you're wanting to look at getting arguably what could be one of our most important players into a system that works for him, the 5-3-2 or the 3-5-2, however you want to brandish it, kind of suits him to the ground. And I think that applies also as well to Anton Stack. I think Stack looks so much better in a midfield 3 that's level, that's got a little bit less kind of individual responsibility. The midfield 3 were doing the same roles. They were applying themselves in the same way to the team, and he could then run in them direct ways that he does in between the lines so much better. He wasn't having to do any of the tick-a-tacker, technical stuff in there that he struggles with, So yeah, it definitely applies to some of his players much better. But I don't want to talk too much in a row, but we have got a bit of a situation on his hands in terms of the squad depth into this style. We have got a problem.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I echo everything you're saying about Beal, and yeah, I think you bang on, because my thought was watching Gabby Goodmanson and Jayden Bogle, and you're looking at going, we've got James Justin, but he's not that kind of fullback, is he? And you're looking at it going, well, we don't really have any natural kind of replacements for them. And I mean, Gabby, I don't know how many kilometres he got through tonight. He was just a Duracell bunny, wasn't he? He just kept going and going and go up and down and up and down. And, absolutely phenomenal. There's just something, Jay, it just seems to fit better, this formation. I like having those three in the centre-back roles as well. I think, Pascal, like you say, when he's doing that push-up thing, all of a sudden, you've got two behind, it just feels more secure somehow. And that balls coming in, crosses, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be absolutely fine because you've got three giants in there, winning everything. It just feels like it fits perfectly. You feel more protected, even the midfielders, but it is a lot of work on those wing backs. I mean, that's some job, that, isn't it, for both of them?
I mean, I'd love to go and see how many kilometres they covered tonight. I said it in the review the other day. Again, it's something that people just kind of take for granted, but the amount of work that a wing back goes through in a 5-3-2 is colossal, and they have so much defensive responsibility down that side because the centre back can't come across all the way because then they get caught out of position. You lose the benefit of having the back three, so you have to kind of you have to get back. That's your only solution, And even bringing one of the midfield three across becomes a big problem because then you have big gaps in the centre of the midfield. That's why you quite often did see one of the strikers coming back. And you probably will have noticed that either Calvert-Lewin or Mecha were actually covering the grounds to try and help defensively as well. But it was class. Was the defensive positioning, the gaps between the defensive midfield and the midfield and attack was perfect. It was really, really good. But yeah, it does rely heavily on some individuals to be able to stay fit. I mean, this system without Gabby is a problem. This system without any of them centre back three that were available tonight, because then you're relying on Bornau, who we're not really sure of yet, and you don't really have the players available as a squad depth at centre back. Danny Fracker made a point of it actually that it relied on Bornau being fit as to whether he would have started with the 5-3-2 tonight, and that makes sense to me because you don't set out to play a certain way if you then can't bring a replacement on after 2 minutes because Pascal Struijk goes down injured or whatever. You could maybe play Ampadu there, but then you're losing so much from the midfield, and you know what I mean. Like it's a real tricky one, And then like I say, I've got to say. I did really like not having to watch our wingers struggle tonight. Yeah. Because our wingers are so, apart from Okafor, obviously, but I'm talking Dan James, Willie Gnonto specifically, and Brandon Aronson for that matter, they struggle so much in one-on-one duels. They don't really beat the men very often. The deliveries are pretty poor. I did enjoy not having to watch them struggle. It was nice to see us go direct into players that could actually make a big difference.
100% agree with that. And I think there is a big question mark over Willie and Jay. If this formation really settles down, I mean, if you're the recruitment team, you're going to January now, you might be changing direction a little bit, or maybe it's been on their kind of agenda already, but it'll be fascinating to see where we go with that. Jack Harrison, could he possibly do that left wing back role? Obviously not to Gabby's level, but I mean, could that be, could that suit him? Do you think there may be something there for him?
I dare say if there was an injury to Gabby, he would probably start over Justin on the left, and Justin is the replacement on the right. That is my problem, my gut feeling, especially as a player that can play a little bit further up. And one thing that Jack Harrison is good at, his engine's really good. He does work hard. He's got a good fitness record. He's never injured. So you're probably right. I mean, not that I want to see Jack Harrison playing too many games, but maybe that could be the position for him. Who knows? But you're right in terms of the recruitment. You've got some situations on your hand at the minute. We need another centre back now for me to make this work long term. I dare say that we need another striker as well. I don't want to even entertain the conversation of Harry Gray. Like that's a terrible show right now. But we need an out-and-out number 9 that can press like Mecha can. That can link play like they can. I don't mind Okafor at 9, but I think it's different when he comes on after 60 minutes harassing and winning as that third goal, which was brilliant. He ain't going to be able to do that from minute 1.
No,
he can't. He hasn't got that. He can barely deal it down the left. after 45, 50 minutes. He can't, like, people. I get the fact that
United's his role, by the way. If this is how we go, that for me is what I want to see Okafor do.
Not that
Preston Harry.
Yeah, 100%. Not that I want to bring a negative spin to this at all tonight, but I've seen people this week say that Okafor should play at the 10 instead of Tanaka. And with Ampadu and Stack with Okafor in front. And then people saying that, calling for him to play as the 9, I think that they just don't fully understand what it takes to actually play out a 90-minute game. I would say that fair enough, maybe, Wolves at home or something, he could maybe play in that game. Or if we've got injuries up there and we need to rotate the team, I can get it. Like, I can understand that he can do a job there, but he isn't the answer at 9 for me. I really don't know what we do long term with Okafor, because he's not going to be not happy playing. And if we play in the 5-3-2 for the rest of the season, I don't think he starts another game unless there's injuries.
Agree completely. Yeah, absolutely. I think you've nailed it bang on there. I guess he's one advantage over the Willie Nonto, Dan James thing is that he's got a bit of size to him at least, and he kind of almost at least he can do a bit of that. But I completely agree. I think it's going to be a struggle. But speaking of strikers, and the commentators were making a lot of references to kind of famous strike partnerships. Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Lucas Nemecha, is this the start of a beautiful relationship and a brand new strike partnership, the likes of which we've not seen at Ellen Road for a long time? I mean, I thought they were both absolutely outstanding. Both, by the way, cost us that.
Yeah,
cost us 0, by the way. Amazing, really, when you look at it like that. But I mean, where do you begin with them two? Because they do similar things but different things. Nemecha, he's got it in the locker, hasn't he? He has got it in the locker. He's got the techers in the locker. Now, it don't always, sometimes he can look a bit, what's the word, kind of clumsy, but that's kind of, look, he's not played that much over the last few years, and, that confidence is growing. I just think that's really exciting as well to see how they're going to grow and improve. But again, I get your point. You do worry about what's below it, because Peru completely different. I would worry in a game with chasing. Your options for bringing people on is, because that's the kind of time you do need to kind of harass people and get in people's faces. We know Peru's not that, so I think there's an issue there. But I think it's a little bit of a throwback, isn't it? These two big guys up front doing it. And look, I'm all for it. I absolutely loved it tonight.
Becky on Beckford days. It's funny, Alan Smith and Viduka. I mean, it's obviously not to them levels, but it is an interesting one, and it is fun to watch two strikers, because you instantly feel more of a threat when you go forward. You don't feel as isolated. I mean, I've played the game a long time. I played pretty much all the years up until 18 as a striker, and then when I went back and played 11, I started to play back up front again late in at my 20s, and it's horrible playing up front on your own. It's really, really isolating. Everything that you do is selfless work, really. Having someone alongside you is brilliant, because you can play off the flick-ons. Their press can create you chances. You can play 1-2s. You can link up play totally differently, and especially if you get a good relationship with a striking partner, it can be absolute buzzing. And you don't see it often now, do you, really? Because the inside forward is the second striker. Mo Salahs and whoever else tonight, Pedro Neto. You very rarely see it. So it is really nice to see it. It's enjoyable to watch. And they're very smart players. And I mean, it's funny, isn't it, how a week goes by and we're going from, we spent £0 on Dominic Calvert-Lewin. How can we expect to stay up? And now we're like,
come out of my mouth.
now we're like, they cost us 0 and we're all good. But you're right. I mean, this is again where the recruitment was a risk, a gamble.
Yeah.
And if they continue to play like that, it will be a gamble well paid off, because they are, between them, and I'm being deadly serious, if they were fully fit with, let's just say they continue like that for the rest of the season, they're worth 25 million quid each, and maybe a bit more.
Yeah.
Mecha, I think, is a really underrated, undervalued player, because we don't know a lot about him, because he's played a lot of time in the Bundesliga and he's had really bad injuries, but you can see his quality. You can see his quality when he gets involved. So Yeah, mate, I'm buzzing for him, and I'm absolutely delighted for every single player that were out there tonight. They really deserved, and I think the performances throughout this season have deserved this.
Yes.
I really do. Even though we've been unhappy with it recently and kicking off and all the rest of it, I genuinely think we were probably 2 draws in that period of time away from being much happier.
Yeah.
It's not a
Absolutely,
lot.
yeah, because we wouldn't have even kind of slipped, would we, at that point?
No.
No, absolutely. And just to finish up on the partnership as well. I mean, that's 7 goals now between them. It's for a
How bad
team
is
that is going to be fighting against relegation. I mean, well on course to get double figures between them. So long may it continue. The midfield.
I'm just going to say on Cavalier, I bet defenders hate playing against him.
Oh yeah,
He's an absolute nuisance to play against. Goes down at the right times, wins free kicks, uses his strength, he flicks balls on, he links play really well. I mean, if he could score on a regular basis, he would be a serious player. He's so smart. I mean, I never appreciated him really ever, and I didn't. He's that kind of player that unless you watch 90 minutes of your team week in week out, you just don't see it.
Well, I can't imagine this Leeds team having a chance without him. Really, the way he plays and the way he does, like you say, just the nous, isn't it? The absolute nous that he's got. It's just absolutely invaluable. The midfield, Jay. Let's start with Tanaka, and who I was getting increasingly frustrated when he was shooting. I was like, for God's sake, don't stop shooting! Oh wow! And what a goal it won! What a performance! And how you could argue. We kind of pointed him at the weekend and saying he played a stupid ball that kind of helped the build up to Man City's winner. And, it's super interesting to watch Tanaka this season because he's had a kind of interesting season so far. But I think he's just so damn talented and I love his attitude and he's got that in his locker, what he did tonight. And yeah, I absolutely love Tanaka and I think he is adapting bit by bit. And I'm just really encouraged that he's now got a goal. And I think and I hope he can go from strength to strength.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, our criticisms of him at the weekend were nothing more than just observations of what he's shown. It's not that we don't love him as an individual or as a player, because we do. We like his attributes. And he needs to build up that experience. He's never played at this level before. Most of his career has been spent at Bundesliga 2, which is arguably the same level as our bottom end of the Championship, maybe top of League 1. It's a much lower standard. He came in at the Championship and really impressed last season. He was a top signing, and we paid next to nothing for him. And when you pay next to nothing, usually you don't get that much quality. And with Tanaka we have, but we've got a lack of experience and a bit of mental lack of quality. I don't know what you get, in terms of decision making and whatnot. Like that'll come with hopefully with more time. So delighted for him tonight. I still thought there were weird moments. I mean, obviously he shanked I think 2 or 3 before he smashed that one in, but what he did off the ball was impressive to me in terms of them 3 in that midfield screened it perfectly. And because of their lack of quality, the lack of athleticism, in comparison to top Premier League midfielders, they're going to need 3 of them in there, and they need 3 of them to be on song to really screen that defence. And they did it perfectly tonight, all 3 of them. I thought that were Anton Stack's best game. I genuinely thought Anton Stack was excellent. Absolutely, he ran himself into the ground as well. So yeah, I was buzzing with the midfield. Really.
Yeah, I thought with Stack, it looked kind of like the perfect fit, like you were saying, the way he was able to, just press and the way he got in the faces and what his decision making on the ball was really good tonight. I've questioned that with Stack at times. I've really, there's been times this season I've been frustrated, but there were no daft mistakes. And, he was very tidy with his possession. Just a really good performance. Because I've got to admit, I thought Gruev was good against Man City, and I actually think Gruev has one of the players that surprised me the most this season. I think he's actually been very, very good in the limited performances we see. I thought he was excellent against Newcastle earlier. I thought he was good tonight, and he was good when he came on tonight. And he's a clever footballer, and he's one of them. He's obviously physically, he's not the biggest player, but he kind of is clever in how he presses and wins the ball. And And yeah, fair play to him, because I think a lot of people would have shipped him off in the summer. And if we'd have sold him, I wouldn't have been, crying about it. But I'm so happy that he seems like he's up to it.
We both said that, didn't we, about Gruev in terms of the capability of being able to step up to Premier League. Honestly, if you could put Ilya Gruev's mental attributes into Tanaka or Stack, you'd have an absolute beast of a midfielder. Because technically, he's obviously a little bit deficient in certain areas, pace especially for me. Very one-footed, body position. But you're absolutely spot on. He's the reading of the game and his game awareness, his understanding of what's going on around him. He's excellent. There's a reason Dortmund wanted him a year ago when we missed out on the promotion. He can do a very specific job from a defensive point of view because he's so good off the ball. We were talking about this the other day about the likes of Lee Cattermole and Jordan Henderson. I'm not saying that he's at Jordan Henderson level, but he's got more up here, which makes up for his deficiencies on the ball. In ability. So yeah, he's a class act in terms of.
There was one moment, Jay, where right towards the end, where Chelsea players were sliding all over the place, and he just dinked the ball over. And I love that, where his first thought wasn't just kick it out or panic or play it back. It was like just a lovely little chip that just got us out. I thought, I like that. That's football IQ, is that? I can have that. Ampadu, I thought, was unreal. Those moments where Ampadu started slaloming past Chelsea players like they weren't there. I mean, that's when Ampadu's like in full Ampadu mode, isn't it? Where he's just in beast mode. And I thought he were absolutely fantastic tonight.
I think Ampadu at home this season. That's a madness. That is an absolute madness skit. Right. Anyway, sorry. Ampadu at home this season has been excellent. I think he's been brilliant. His away performances that have been of a real concern for me, and I've been scratching my head as to say like what's going on with the level of performance. But then the whole team's been performing poorly away from home, so it's a tricky one to kind of understand. But yeah, I thought he was brilliant tonight. I mean, he led from the front, proper captain's performance. Was leading the troops all over the pitch. You could see it. He was dictating to both other centre midfielders either side of him, the centre backs as well. And then his quality tonight, distribution, like you say, he slalom through him a couple of times in that second half, was brilliant on the ball. And then in the tackle, he was really, really getting stuck in, and he epitomised everything that you wanted to see from Leeds tonight. Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Indeed. I mean, in terms of where that leaves us, then we have jumped up, and it's just funny how these things change as well. Because I'm starting to see a little kind of Scott Parker out Burnley vibe breaking out amongst Twitter as well. I think they've lost again, haven't they? And do you know who's come on the radar? Amazingly, I don't know if he's actually been named, but I saw a Bournemouth fan kicking off about what's happening. I'm just looking. Bournemouth, people are sleeping on Bournemouth. Bournemouth have slipped to 14th.
Yeah, it's madness, isn't it?
They've lost 4 out of the last 5 games, and I think we would have all said Bournemouth would be right up there, but yeah, not happening for them. And it's amazing how quickly things can change. We're out of the relegation zone. It might only be temporary. We've got West Ham playing tomorrow. They're playing Manchester United away. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. But I mean, just a great feeling, isn't it, that we've kind of got that monkey off us back a little bit, because that thing of we've lost 3 in 4, we've lost 4 in 5, we've lost 5. Is it it just gets bigger and bigger. I'm just so glad to kind of put that behind us now.
Again, like, talking about whether they're playing for the manager, and also talking about whether they were then losing confidence. And I mean, did that look like a team that had lost 6 out of 7? No. It didn't, did it? I mean, it looks far, far, far from it. And again, just to repeat, I think we've played better than that, if not just the same level of that, and lost games and drawn games this season. I think we're personally a team that has got the quality between 16th and 18th, right? I think that's the bracket in which we fall in. But the performances so far this season don't marry up to that. They actually marry up to maybe another 4, 5, 6, 7 points.
Yeah.
Which would put us in front of Newcastle, Bournemouth, and a couple of others. And I don't think that's unfair to say that. Like, Farker outers will want to argue that we didn't get them. Fine, I can't argue with that. That is the reality. But in terms of the actual quality of the performances that we've seen, they don't marry up to where we actually find ourselves in, which gives me a lot of optimism, given the fact that I see this team as a team that has got the quality of a bottom 5 side. So
Chelsea had 2 shots on target tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
I've seen this before where teams have come and had a very, not created much, but got something from us, beaten us, nicked a couple of points, whatever. I'm just so happy tonight we've actually got what we fully deserve, because you bang on. We've seen performances like this. We've had statistically, there's a lot of games like that, especially at home, where we've been the better team, shots and creating chances. By the way, Chelsea, do you know what the percentage share was tonight?
Possession.
Yeah, possession percentage.
They'd have had 70 plus.
Yeah, 71 to 29.
Yeah,
but
I don't care. I mean, the funny thing...
That means nothing, though, does it? When you look at that game, we absolutely fully deserved it.
Yeah, because some people wrongly distribute possession to your performance.
Yeah.
I think XG is probably a better barometer of how well you've played in the game, because there's chances created. But possession for possession's sake means nothing. I said to you about 30 minutes into the game, we are better without the ball. We're actually quite good without the ball. Defensively, it's when we have the ball and turn the ball over quickly that our biggest problems come. When we have too much of the ball, because of the lack of quality that we have, it shows up more, and you then actually are more susceptible. And because we're forced to go a little bit more direct, we're going to play without the ball more often. Help today because we got an early goal. The game plays out, and that is the way football goes, but it plays out probably a bit differently if we don't score in the way that we do early. And that's why it's important that we get a team, we play for set pieces, we make the most of them. We're a team down the bottom, so you have to play to your advantages. And we certainly did that tonight. I thought it was really good value for it tonight.
Well, how important, though, was it we got that early goal and we got a lead and we actually hung on to it, because we've seen a few times Villa, the week before, got the early goal and end up losing the game. We were leading against Forest and we lost there. So it's mentally, we've talked about that kind of negative momentum, but this could hopefully give them a bit more confidence to, we're in charge of this game and we're gonna see this through.
The 5-3-2 definitely helps with that.
Yeah.
It definitely helps with that, especially when we've got more energy early on. If we get an early goal, it should be more sustainable to keep the opposition at bay. I mean, bear in mind, we conceded after 5 minutes of the second half. We didn't really look like conceding again. Cole Palmer has one good chance, I would say, that he puts wide, but apart from that, we limited them to very little, and that was when the game was 2-1. But we also didn't look like we were completely then just defend. No. We did look to actually get them still going the other way. We looked to hit them on the counter. We got them into dangerous positions up the pitch and then pressed from there. I thought it was really, really clever. I mean, tactically, the way that we dealt with things, I thought were really smart tonight.
Yeah. What do you make of this one, Arthur? Thanks for your comment. Perry got to start doing better. His kicking, catching, not very good. I thought Perry was good tonight. I know some people are saying about the goal, but I thought he would. The thing is, it's like the ball was coming back for him to launch it time and time again, and you've got to be absolutely on it. That's mentally draining again and again and again. You mess one of those up, and you
I think people are far too keen to just look and jump on stuff, especially with the keeper for some reason. I think we've had such a keeper issue for so long. People they just can't wait to kind of jump on top or something. I don't think he should do any better with I mean, my initial feeling was it was a bit weird because it beat him at the near post, but when you watch it back, I mean, Neto is 3 yards out. What you want him to do? He blasts it straight at him, not wall. So, and I thought his kicking overall was okay. He didn't give the opposition any opportunity to tackle him, but put us under real danger. He got a few on his left foot. I mean, he was getting some put right on his toes as well in that second half, where we're going back to him quite quickly. Thought he dealt with them all. He shanked a couple out of play, but he's a goalkeeper. They're going to shank a lot of them out of play unless you get Edison or another keeper that's really, really, really good with the ball at his feet. You're going to see issues like that. So
You probably prefer to see that because I know his short game sometimes has been a little bit hit and miss, hasn't it? This
Yeah.
season. So whack it up, get the big boys up front to get it, and there we go. Myself and Jay we'll be back tomorrow morning, won't we? As well, Jay. We're going to have a little chinwag in the morning so we can reflect in a little bit more detail about everything and check out Farke's reaction. Plus, we'll take a look at the other results and where we're at and what the feeling is. You know, Parag Marate was there in the stands tonight. It cut to him a few times, and whether you believe these leaks or not, Farke had a couple of games to save his job, and if that is the case, I mean, I don't think you can get a much bigger statement win than tonight there, Jay.
I just think it's funny. Imagine thinking it's a leak saying if Daniel Farke loses his next 2 games, he's going to lose his job. Like, yeah, sure, the guy's lost 8 and 9 at that point. If that's the case, like, it's not that wild of a take to make, because it's
water is wet.
Yeah, water is wet. Yeah, the sky is blue. I just think it's a nonsense, and I think the 49ers are desperate for it to be a success under him. I think they're really behind him. I'm just hoping the fan base can just really get their heads screwed on with it now. You know, anybody still questioning what he can bring and the players being behind him they're just not being fair at this stage. When we beat Liverpool at Anfield as an example, it were a backs to the wall job. It was almost a fluke. I mean, Ilan Millier got man of the match that day. It was just one of them games, FA Cup upset, which just happens sometimes, where you have like 5 shots and the opposition have 30 and you win 2-1. Like, it was one of that weren't that tonight. That were a well-structured, organised team together behind the manager, delivering against a top side. So.
Well, this is it. And also we know some fans, that have got rid of Farke yonks ago. But I just wonder from 49ers' point of view, if, they're data-led, they'll know those XG numbers, they'll know what the games have been like. And they want it to work under Farke. They want Farke to be the man that just does it. They don't want the disruption of it because, we've seen, what's his face linked today? Gary O'Neill. Gary O'Neill, do you know what I mean? It's like, did you see what he did at Wolves? Do you know what I mean? It's like he basically took over a team in a similar situation. God awful. I mean, it's like,
And Browney, their team, that team that he had was levels and levels and levels above this one. Yeah. Like literally light years above this one.
Yeah.
So no, God no. I mean, people saying today that Gary O'Neill's a better manager than Danny Farke, he's not. No. He's not. You might want to create that narrative because it suits. He's not. Is Danny Farke the best Premier League manager? No, he's never going to be. But he's nowhere near as bad as what some people make out he is.
No, absolutely not. Just final comment. I just want to say, Sporting Jerry, Gary Neville praised Leeds for saying we got everything right tonight. It'll be funny, won't it? Because Gary Neville apparently thought we were going to get relegated when he saw us against Everton.
Yeah, I remember that.
So make of that what you will. Me and Jay will be back. What we're saying, Jay, we're doing 11, our usual 11 o'clock. Yeah, we'll be back 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So if you guys are about, please do tune into that. If you've been watching along tonight, please do smash a like on the video. Get your comments if you're watching later. And also, please do subscribe to the channel and just enjoy that one. How many times will you be watching the highlights of that tonight, Jay?
Yeah, definitely a few. I'm going to go and catch all the other ones as well because there've been a few mental games tonight, haven't there? So, but yeah, I'll definitely be watching it a few times over before I go to bed tonight. Yeah, I love beating Chelsea.
Oh, yeah.
After Manchester United, they're my favourite. They're my favourite to win.
I think that they're a horrible club. Absolutely disgusting. So, yeah, it feels even sweeter tonight. Good stuff. We will be back tomorrow morning. Enjoy the rest of your evening there, Leeds United fans. We can all sleep well after that one. And we will hopefully see you again tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.